From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Making a change.
Our future at this farm is one built on tomorrow.
How one farmer's dramatic decision has kept his operation up and running and led him to being named a Top Producer of the Year finalist. A new administration takes a new stance when it comes to fighting avian flu. As we go one-on-one in an exclusive interview with the new head of USDA.
But I feel confident. I feel like it's a new day.
The news is happening right here at this year's Top Producer Summit, right now on AgDay.
AgDay is brought to you by Pioneer. More farmers choose Pioneer brand corn because it delivers game-changing yields. Join a winning team. Pioneer brand corn. Your best year starts here.
Well, good morning. I'm Clinton Griffiths. Today we are in Kansas City at the 2025 Top Producer Summit. While these are some of the biggest and best producers in the country, on Tuesday they got their chance to hear from the biggest name at USDA, the newly confirmed Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Rollins beginning Tuesday events with a fireside chat led by Kansas Senator Dr. Roger Marshall. She spoke about her goals for the agency and her priorities, which include working to get the current avian flu outbreak under control. Farmers were also given a chance to ask questions. Then the Farm Journal team was given exclusive access, including myself, Ty Morgan, and Chip Flory, all sat down one-on-one with the Secretary for our own conversation.
I, for one, was encouraged by the fact that your first official meeting after being sworn in, and it was literally within a couple of hours, was on bird flu,
That's
HPAI.
Right.
What is the status, and what does it mean moving away from culling the infected flocks? What's the plan?
Well, we are still working on the plan right now. Clearly, this is a massive issue for our poultry producers, especially our egg layers, that segment of the community. And so ensuring that we have a plan, not just for the short term to bring down egg prices, which the president's very focused on, but for the long term. What are the best practices around the world? Why in America have we been hit so hard? Why did the last USDA a couple of years ago, they recognized it as a major issue, but not many steps were taken. So we've got really smart people on this right now, not just from within the USDA, but over at the White House who are really focused on it. I've been talking to governors. I've been talking to the companies that are facing this. I've been talking to we've been talking to everyone, trying to come up with talk about the toolkit, a big toolkit to be able to really approach this and hopefully figure out a way to, again, solve it for the long term.
Disaster aid, economic aid, it was approved by the last Congress. It's been a little, I shouldn't even say that, it's a little slow coming out, but what is the status? What should we expect?
It's got to move quickly. And now that I'm there, that is, other than avian flu, that's probably when I walk out of here, I'll jump on the phone and we'll start figuring out again, why that isn't moving more quickly, what we need to do. We've got the team in place. But as you can imagine, I just got confirmed a couple days ago. We have the 8 undersecretaries at USDA, one that manages this portfolio. He hasn't even had his hearing yet. So we're we're a little bit of band-aiding and duct taping and bubble gumming this thing together. But please know, and all of your listeners and those watching on TV should know, that this is of the highest priority. We have the best team in place, and we are going to move as quickly as humanly possible. We have to get a farm bill, right? This is an absolute priority. And so what can we be doing right now as Congress is focused on reconciliation and some of the next tax cut package from President Trump, but what should we be doing right now to lay the groundwork to hopefully allow a smooth, if I may be so bold, farm bill process where there will obviously be some negotiations, but I feel confident. I feel like it's a new day.
Now you heard the new Ag Secretary speaking about prioritizing efforts to combat avian flu, and now the Trump administration is rolling out a new strategy against it, moving away from the mass culling of infected flocks. Now the plan prioritizes enhanced biosecurity measures and medication to control the spread of the virus. Targeted contaminant methods will enhance efficiency in preventing outbreaks, with government scientists and global academic experts contributing to the plan's development. But the plan's success hinges on industry adoption and global trade acceptance. To go along with that, USDA has issued a conditional license to a company to produce an avian flu vaccine for chickens. Now, the vaccine maker is Zoetis. A company spokesman says its scientists began updating its existing avian flu vaccine several years ago, and last Friday, the government gave the company a conditional license. Now, the company previously developed vaccines for avian flu to protect California condors back in 2023. Workers have killed more than 150 million birds infected or exposed to the virus since the latest outbreak in 2022. Kansas City is not warm and welcoming this week, with an Arctic blast keeping temperatures in the single digits. Meteorologist Alyssa Heilman has more on this winter storm.
Very cold temperatures are lingering in portions of the Midwest, and in the north you're seeing that area of purple there again, seeing those very cold temperatures. That's because of a big dip in the jet stream that is pulling that cold air into portions of the United States. Seeing -2 in Bismarck, 3 in Billings, 0 in Rapid City, and just 2 degrees in Omaha. Still even cold as we get down into Tulsa, just 15 degrees for that high temperature today. Now as we go overnight, of course, seeing those colder temperatures again moving in as well. 0 in Bismarck, -4 in Minneapolis, -13 in Omaha. Even Chicago seeing those cold temperatures, just 6 degrees there. And then going into tomorrow, we do start to see some of the warmer air move in, less of that cold air dipping down into the United States. 8 degrees for a high in Omaha, as well as in Bismarck, 15 in Minneapolis. So seeing a little bit of that warmth coming in already as we go into tomorrow, and then warmer temperatures expected this weekend. A powerful winter storm lashed out at the eastern United States over the weekend, killing several people in Kentucky, who died during flooding from heavy rains. At least 1,000 people stranded by floods had to be rescued in the state. Check out this church in Pikeville, Kentucky, surrounded entirely by water. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
All right, when we come back, markets took off Monday, so what did they do on the restart? Michelle Rook joins us next for Markets Now. And later, we're off to Colorado to meet a finalist for Top Producer of the Year. He's been looking for ways to de-risk his operation from the challenges of the Western Range. His story in the country.
AgDay is brought to you by Germinator Closing Wheels. Germinator steel closing wheels provides a 13 bushel advantage per acre in no-till and a 7 bushel advantage per acre in conventional. Do you have enough room in your bin to switch to the Germinator?
So many things happening over the long holiday weekend that sent commodity markets racing on Tuesday. Michelle Rook has more in Markets Now.
A higher day in the grains on Tuesday. Kevin Dooling is back with analysis. Kevin, nice close, corn making new highs for the move and above the $5 mark on Tuesday. What was behind it, and can we keep going now?
For one, corn, we finally beat through that $5 ceiling there after, trying 8 different days. We got through it. The funds are still holding on to that long position for the most part. Plus, there's a different kind of fund group. The index funds are coming in, and they're buying all the grains up a little bit and all commodities in general. So that's a fantastic environment for us if they really want to do that. The last time they did that was 2010. So
the move in wheat, has that been fund short covering, or are we putting in weather premium?
It's a yes to all. We've got massive end user demand. We got a lot of countries loading up. Saudis tendered for 600,000 tons. They bought 920,000. Funds are covering. You've got index fund buying. You've got, a lot of specs wanted to buy wheat when it finally turned the corner, which we did. At least those are the small specs. So yeah, it's that market's got, it should have some life.
So specifically on corn, March corn got above 5. Where's the next area that we can go to technically? We did have SRW wheat get above $6. Where does that one go?
I'd say on the March corn, we're running out of time here, but on the March corn, it's probably short term 508, 510. If they want to push it through that, I have a hard time seeing it get much above 515, 520. I don't know if we need to get above that yet. Wheat, Hard to say. You know, we had trend line resistance today. We hit that, bounced back, and then came at and then closed above it. So it could actually, you know, kind of that 640 mark. Those October highs is what I'm kind of expecting in the short term. So
Thanks so much, Kevin Dooling with KD Investors. We'll have more Ag Day coming up.
Watch Markets Now with Michelle Rook on the Farm Journal YouTube channel, keeping you updated throughout the day on the markets at the open, midday, and close. Find out what moved the markets today and what to expect the market to do next.
For a free 2-month sample of Kevin's market analysis, or if you have a question of any kind, call 541-980-4554 or email kdinvestors@gmail.com.
That warmth that I was talking about headed our way this weekend is continuing through this outlook as well. That's February 25th through March 3rd, where we're seeing a large portion of the United States expecting temperatures above normal. That includes the north, who have seen definitely those colder temperatures over the last couple days. So there's some relief headed there for them. And again, a large portion of the United States who are going to see some of those warmer temperatures coming up. Now, turning to what we're expecting for precipitation this week and into the weekend, there's a system that's in portions of the south and up into areas of the Midwest, bringing some snowfall in those northern areas and then some rain in some of those more southern areas. And that's been impacting some areas back into the plains on Tuesday, but now moving, of course, more east and impacting some areas as it goes further east and then off into the coast as well. So expecting more of that snowfall on areas of the East Coast who have already seen a good amount of snowfall from a couple systems that have moved through. Then going into Thursday, we're seeing a good amount of lake effect in areas of the Great Lakes as they're getting some northwest winds continuing into Thursday. A little bit of snow in portions of the northwest and in those mountainous areas. And then as we go into Thursday and Friday, that's when we start to see some clearance in the majority of the United States, a couple smaller systems, but again, seeing mostly clear skies for a large portion of the United States as we go Friday into Saturday and continuing into the weekend. Precipitation outlook for that same time period, February 25th to March 3rd, we're seeing some areas in the central and the northern United States wetter than average for this precipitation outlook, and just some areas in the southwest that are seeing some of those drier than normal conditions coming up in this outlook period. Bennington, Vermont, a high of 22 degrees, a low of just 1. Then Payson, Utah, high 42, low of just 31. Covington, Kentucky, high of 24, low of 13.
We're at Top Producer Summit in Kansas City, where the Secretary of Agriculture spoke to farmers. We'll have more from that conversation coming up next. And later, farmers grow things, and for this farmer in Colorado, that motto means more than just crops. We'll meet a finalist for Top Producer of the Year next. Secretary Rollins started Tuesday speaking with farmers, and that allowed for questions. Now, one of those questions centered around working with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Some of the things he has said in the past, I know would be, if implemented, would be devastating for a lot of our farming community. Yep. And I believe, though, and maybe it's the optimist in me and in the relationship that he and I have built since he joined the team in August of 2024, that I have found him to be extremely reasonable. I know he went through the entire process like I did in meeting with all the senators. The Republican senators had a lot of questions for him. There were a lot of ag state senators, like the senators from here and around the Midwest, but all around the country. And he was, I believe, very truthful and sincere when he said that we will work this together. Will we have disagreements? Probably so. But when we do, and this is I think the benefit of having been in the last West Wing for 3 years and having worked with President Trump so closely, when those big disagreements happen, we just take them to the president. We go into the Oval Office, we sit in front of the Resolute desk, the president sits behind, we each make our case. And so, you know, there may be a few of those in the coming months and years, but I am more confident than ever before that he understands the implications, at least a lot of them, of what would happen if some of these more bold ideas of his, if I use those words, if they get implemented. So I will be there to fight for what we know is right for the ag community.
We also asked about the importance of biofuels to the new administration.
The good news is that the senators on the ag committee, you have a lot from this part of the country, including Senator Marshall, who's a real champion. The president has been, I believe, fairly unequivocal in stating his support for the importance of biofuels in the larger energy independence work, and also understanding how important it is to our farmers and our ranchers who produce it. So I look forward to continuing that conversation, to continuing to support that side of the industry and working with our great elected officials. But for me, my heart is here with our producers on the ground, and so continuing that as well.
It wouldn't be Top Producer if we didn't name a Top Producer of the Year. Well, up next, we'll meet a finalist for Top Producer of the Year, whose Colorado operation is all about growing things. This year, we have 3 finalists for the title of 2025 Top Producer of the Year. Now, over the next few days, you'll meet all 3. Today, we begin in Colorado with Mark Arnish. He's a lifelong farmer with an eye on the future of his operation and his community. As he checks last year's crops and thinks about the future,
I think this will go here pretty quick.
Colorado farmer Mark Arnish and his team are excited about what's ahead.
At the end of the day, this is about family. It's about growing an operation. It's about growing a community. It's about helping others lead. And that's been the greatest reward.
Getting to those rewards has been a journey for this operation located in Prospect Valley, about 35 miles northeast of Denver.
My family immigrated to the United States in 1952 from Austria.
It was the sugar beet that lured them to the Colorado climate, and it was a key part of the farm until the late 20-teens.
I was doing all the finances, telling him we can't do this anymore. This is uncomfortable for me. I don't feel right about this. We've got to change. We've got to move.
And that was hard. When I had to tell my dad that I grew my last sugar beet crop, you can imagine he wasn't very happy about that.
Today, they grow seed wheat, seed barley, grains for the craft beer and spirits industries, black-eyed peas, alfalfa, and food-grade corn.
Growing a grain for a distillery, taking on a new crop like a black-eyed pea that had never even been grown in this region of Colorado, there's certainly some risk there, but there's also the reward.
It's a way to control their own destiny and decommoditize a commodity. Diversification has been the key to weathering the challenges of Colorado.
But when everything comes together, when everything works, we can yield with some of the best in the country. We don't always get along with Mother Nature. Hailstorms are frequent here in this area, and we're a very dry climate. But when we're in the de-risking business, and so we try to de-risk our operation everywhere we can.
Instead, they're finding ways to supplement the farm beyond the field. Good snow melt and a good aquifer means excess water is available for other uses during certain times of the year.
Weld County has more oil and gas wells in it than all of Saudi Arabia combined. And part of that development process requires a large amount of water. We had it in the right place, in the right time, in close proximity to where it needed to be delivered. And so Ag Water Alliance was born.
They also started a captive insurance company to help take catastrophic risk off the table. And soon, they'll continue to expand on that family motto of growing things as they look to grow their community.
We're getting ready to develop my grandfather's farm. And so I would imagine you've not heard too many farmers say, I plan to build on top of my family's legacy.
The goal is to bring resources, services, and amenities back to their small town that were common just 50 years ago. Things like healthcare, assisted living, and a place for new businesses to locate. With their son and his new family by their side and a new farm manager, the future is bright.
Farming goes beyond just the seed that you plant in the field, the crop that you grow, the equipment that you have. It's about investing in tomorrow. And our future at this farm is one built on tomorrow.
They recognize all of this is a gift.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't really know your business, and you can make decisions on bad numbers and bad advice, and it goes away very quickly.
This Colorado operation may have faced adversity, but their willingness to reinvent the farm is why they're a candidate for the 2025 Top Producer of the Year. And that's going to wrap us up for our coverage from the 2025 Top Producer Summit. We'll be back here tomorrow. Until then, have a great day in farm country.